Our last, but certainly not least, presentation of the 2024 DCS Focus On Post is my friend Michael Cioni. As a matter of fact, I'm president of the Cioni Brothers fan club, and you guys can join if you will.
There's only one member, let's be honest. So.
I'm a big fan of these guys. Michael, and I've been following him for years, started at Plaster City, and then he started his own company, Light Iron, and then went to Panavision, and then he was at Frame.io, but he quit all that, and his brother left the business to do a startup, and they want to see how they can improve workflows using AI and the cloud. So tell us about it. That's
a summary of my last 25 years, that's for sure. And yeah, I thought today was really exciting because if you looked at the subtext of everything that was shown, maybe not so much camera to cloud and jellyfish, but if you look at the subtext of all the NLEs, they all had an AI element in them, right? And we noticed that. That's new. I guarantee if we go back to last year's and the year before of these, you don't have the same results. So that's pretty exciting. And yeah, this is my third startup. And it's kind of like, why would you start a startup again, especially in such a difficult climate? And it's because I really believe that AI can be broken down into two categories. And the two categories, we actually saw them applied in the earlier sessions today. Utility AI is the AI that I think is more valuable to us. I don't want to say which one's better or worse. It's not really a competition. But when we think about these, we know that there's generative AI and utility AI. Generative AI traditionally or typically is really good when you're dealing with things that are disposable or quick. I love Carl's demonstration of generate extend, right? That was really practical, very useful, things like that. We saw the transcriptions inside of Media Composer and inside of Resolve. And we saw audio AI being used to clean up audio and things like that. Very practical. That's very utilitarian. That's not really generative. I was talking to Sean McDaniel's old roommate, and he was talking about Midjourney and Runway. Those are more generative AI, right? We understand those are different. And so what we are going to focus on today is the utilitarian stuff. I think utility AI is more valuable for people that are doing in real life work. And we're going to break down like where that actually comes to pass. And this is a really interesting article here from Creator Now. Creator Now asked a whole bunch of content professionals and said, how are you using AI? And look at the results. What's really interesting about these results is that saving money was the least valuable. Isn't that interesting? Normally we sort of lead with that, right? But in this case, what we're looking at here is that quality was a little bit more important, filling a skills gap, which I think is critical, and then also the speed. And you saw that play out in the NLE demos we saw earlier. We saw it in Media Composer, we saw it in Premiere, we saw it in Resolve. And so this is all about speed. Camera to cloud is all about speed. And what did John just show with OWC? Faster transfers. In fact, I did the math. FireWire 400, which is where we started, to Thunderbolt 4. Thunderbolt 4 is about 180 times faster. If you could have a card from a camera downloaded to the little bus-powered drive, or the powered drive he was talking about, that would be downloading about 350, 360 gigabytes per minute. That's pretty fast to offload once card readers can get that fast and not overheat. But those are the types of things OWC is building. So what I'm going to talk about today, I'm going to show a demonstration of the product that I've been building, but I want to show why the product's important. And if you saw all this AI stuff and you're maybe asking yourselves, where does it apply to you? I've made you a map. And this is the map on where AI applies to you. See, this is called the skills gap principle. It's one of the things the Cioni brothers came up with. And so what we came up with is when you have elements of your job that are close proximity to you, those are things that are close to you. And then there's things that are not close to you. Like if you're a sound mixer, that might be sound might be close, color might be far, right? And then on the vertical axis here, we have the value. When something is a task, you put a lot of value. We have that mapped. And then when something's a low value, that's mapped. So we've created these 4 quadrants. And this is where I think we can start to figure out where do we use AI. And for those of you that are concerned where AI is going to impact your job, this might show a little bit of an answer. See, if something is close to you and it's of high value, guess what? You're going to do it. That's your job. That's why you were put on this earth. That's what brings you joy, and that's what you're known for. It's your vocation. So when something's close and it's valuable, you do it. But if something is far from you, but there's a high value on it, guess what? You're going to outsource it, right? You're going to find somebody else to do it because it's something that's really important, but it isn't your vocation. It isn't your specialty. It's not what you're known for. But what about something that's far away from you and it's low quality? It's something that's low value. In many cases, you can ignore it. Either someone else is going to take care of it or it doesn't matter at all. When something's low value and it's way out there. This is really important for the solopreneur. Don't get caught up in this bottom right-hand corner because we often find ourselves tangled up in things that we don't know about, we don't really care, and then we waste time and calories trying to solve it. You've done it, you know it, don't do it. And then it comes down to this bottom left corner, and this is the corner of opportunity. If something is close to you, and it's something you know about, but it's a low value, that's where you automate it. And this is where that automation is going to allow it to get created so that you can focus on the upper left corner where you actually do the work. That is, to me, the map of where AI fits in a creative professional and where it can be useful. And if you find AI and you get excited about it, and if you can't place it on the map, maybe it's the wrong tool for you. Maybe you still got to do some looking. Maybe the tool hasn't been invented yet. So why would taking that information, why start this new product which we call Strada? Well, we noticed a problem when we looked at the market, and after spending many, many years in post-production and production and on-set and behind the scenes and in the cloud, I really thought of this problem. I just think creative professionals simply spend way too much time searching for their own stuff. We're always searching, and I'm not just talking about editors. I'm talking about producers, writers, cinematographers, directors. We're talking about brands, churches, schools, agencies, lawyers, agents, right? All of these people are looking for something, especially when your OWC drive is in a shelf from 6 years ago. How do you get the footage back? We all have a closet. We've been asking people to raise hands. I could ask you all, but you all would raise your hand. How many of you have a closet with drives that haven't been turned on in 5 or 6 years, right? Okay, we all know, right? That means that when there's a need for some of that footage, we actually have a customer of our product that says sometimes it's easier to just shoot it again than it is to find it again. That's painfully true for some people, right? And I want to solve that problem. And so what we did is we built this product, and what we are building is a platform. It is not a point solution. It is not a feature or function. It is a platform. And our goal is to collaborate together, and we aim to make searching and sharing an instant process. It's a tough goal, but I want you to find everything you're looking for in 1 second. And I don't care where it is, how old it is, or how long ago you shot it, or what file type it is. That's my goal. And we've started it out, and I'm going to show a couple demonstrations here to kind of take us away here. So here's the first example. Have you ever had trouble finding a line of dialogue from a script? You got a script, you got a bunch of footage. I'm going to go to, I'm running this in Safari. This is Strada, so you can see I'm just on the web right here. And here you can see, if I click right here, I have 661 takes in this film. So, if you shoot a film, you're going to have a lot of takes in there. And a director says, you know what, I really need to find a specific line of dialogue. You've done this before, but normally this is how we all think. We go, what day did we shoot that? Right? You know how we talk like that? What day? Or were we in the diner or the kitchen, or were we in the, in the park? That's not a good way to search things. And if you can remember all the scene and takes, good for you, but a lot of people don't know that. Here is how a director or a cinematographer or a producer would find something they were looking for. They know the dialogue, they know the line. And I know in this film there's a line of grab a few extra things. And if I just type grab a few, Strada will automatically search for all the takes. It will find that time that line is actually spoken. And it'll find, here we can see there are 6 takes here. And if I click on the word grab, it'll take me right to the moment that is actually said. So I can actually see right here, this is the moment that it's actually spoken.
Is that silver?
needs me to grab. So we can see that. And of course, because it knows all the takes that happens, it's already pulled all the takes so I can see alternate versions of those takes. And it can take me to them as well. So I can see this is going to happen 6 times. There were 6 takes when they actually delivered this line. And of course, we could go back down and see it happen all over again. So this is the power of being able to search by a line of dialogue. And here's our second take.
Yeah, she just needs me to grab a few.
So you can see here, being able to search and look at different versions of a take are really, really valuable, really powerful. Okay, so that's the first one, is have you ever found a line of dialogue? So we have the dialogue to search for that. Well, what about when there's no dialogue? How do you find something that's visually available, right? How about finding a clip that you know exists? Well, we'll make this very fair in terms of search. I need someone to name an animal. Gazelle. Wow, okay. Gazelle. Is that how you spell gazelle? Is that right? There we go. And so it's going to start looking for animals closest to gazelle here. And what's cool about this is there's actually 3,442 takes. This is a huge amount of natural history footage. Give me another animal. There weren't really any gazelles. What was that? Turtle. Okay, turtle. Well, we see one right there, but it'll pull them all for us. We see a turtle. I spelled turtle wrong. You're allowed 1 misspelled word per 10 characters, so we still found turtle. And you can see we can find all that, right? So it's pulling all this media, so I'm able to search through a huge amount of media based on search. I could search for an object in natural history like fire, and it'll pull all the shots with fire. Remember, I'm doing this, and it got all these shots right here. And if I wanted to search for a compound search, so if I said grassland, I'm going to start with grassland. Remember, there's 3,000 takes here. Here's grassland. It's going to find all the grasslands, and it pulls that down to 85. But if I said I want grasslands with birds, I can compound that search. And now it's gone down to 20 assets. We have grasslands with birds. And if I said, how about I see a giraffe? Now we've got that. And look here in the labels. Bird, giraffe, grasslands, herds. It's labeled all of these elements. So it's able to find the moments in which this, and this is all automatic. Nothing is tagged manually. Everything I'm doing today is fully automated. And so for me, the value of search and sort is all about automation. It's a utility, right? Not a manual process. So this is a powerful way to search files that we know with video. Well, how about an interview that was recorded in a different language? It doesn't have to be an interview, it could be anything, but when something happens in a different language, I know that workflows tend to grind to a halt. So we wanted to solve that problem. Notice this. Here I have a transcript here, and I could search for the word painting. I know she talks about painting, but let's listen to the language here, because what's interesting about this particular interview is that it is not in English. Oh, let's see if we get it. Come on, internet. Here we go.
后来开始学习油画。
So she's speaking in Mandarin, but Strada is able to give us Mandarin and English, and so we're able to translate both in English and Mandarin, and we can read both at the same time. So I can switch between them. Strada actually supports over 100 languages. And while we saw transcription inside the NLEs today, which is great, my problem with doing everything in the NLE is it's only accessible by the editing team, sometimes just the editor. So I have a concern that when we put everything into Premiere or Final Cut or Resolve or Media Composer, then the producer and director and writer and story producer and VFX soup and all those people don't have access to that. So it's not as collaborative, right? And so by being able to integrate this into a collaborative tool, now everyone can see and experience it. Here's another example. Have you ever wanted multicam dailies? Well, you might have been noticing we were seeing a lot of multicam stuff. And check this out. This is actually my favorite thing about Strada. I realized that nobody has ever built the ability to sync files in the cloud. And when we're dealing with dual stream audio, separate audio, multicam, we wanted to make that happen automatically for you. And so to do that, check this out. I have a bunch of A camera files here. Again, this is all in the cloud. I'm running this in Safari. I have a bunch of A camera. You can see this is all A camera media. And then I can see a bunch of B camera media. And there's all the B camera stuff, the other angles. And I have a bunch of sound. I brought these in as separate bins, but I decided to put them all into this one folder called Synced. And so I have all my audio and video in here. And this is real. I'm doing this in real time. It's no video. This isn't pre-baked. I've got something like 88 takes in here of A, B camera, and audio broadcast wave files. And if I right-click on this and I just say sync by time code, in about 6 seconds in the cloud, Strada will analyze that and will assemble them all together. And in 3, 2, 1, we should get our synced results. And there we are. So now we've just sunk together. And if I look at the details here, you'll see a B camera, A camera, and the audio file. It's not rendering them. It's stacking them dynamically in the cloud. So that if I go here and I say the word countryside, and we take it here, here's her line. She says, the countryside, I actually hate the city. We can see it's already transcribed, and we can play it back.
The countryside. I actually hate the city.
You can see here we're starting to, Strada knows how to read, and it's starting to understand. The take is 2 Frank, take 2. And of course, if we look at the very beginning of this take, we'll see that it is, in fact, 2 Frank, take 1. I have 2 Frank, take 1 there. And we're learning how to read slates. I got some fine tuning to do in that, but we're automatically syncing, we're automatically slating, we're automatically tagging faces so that I can search by a character, a name, a face, a location. If I ask for the character Flo, because we can understand faces, again, this is all automatic. It finds Flo every time she appears here. If I said Flo plus Rose, it'll now find when Flo and Rose appear together. You can see in faces, I have Flo captured in this one, and we can see Rose and Flo appear in this take at the same time. If I go and remove Flo and I see just Rose, now we find takes of Rose where there isn't Flo. If I said Rose and Hansel, it'll find takes if they appear at the same time as well. So now I just have Hansel. So you can search by that. I can search in combinations. I could say Flo, and I could say Flo on the stairs. And saying I want to find Flo on the stairs is a lot more natural than trying to remember what scene that is. So if I do Flo on the stairs, boom, here is a bunch of takes of Flo in the stairs, and now we can go right to those moments because we understand these characteristics, right? We can even search by sounds. If I write the word scream, if we know we're looking for a moment where there's screaming, screaming isn't a word in transcription. Strada is we are becoming one of the #1 qualitative transcription companies in the world. Like our transcriptions, people are telling us, are blowing everybody away. And here we can find moments of screaming because we understand the sounds of things, right? And we even understand words. Like if I say poison, it will actually understand words that are written. So I could find here an actual clip that has a box that says poison on it, and I'm not actually just searching for, so here we can see we can read poison, and we see it here, and then if I go to here, I can see there's a transcription of poison, and it's actually spoken as a word. And so think about this in terms of triangulation. We're searching for objects, emotions, and people and locations. And all of a sudden, however you want to search is correct because it's triangular, right? We can search by sounds and places. And we can export all of this stuff, last part of the demo, I can export this to Final Cut, Resolve, Avid, Premiere, and a generic CSV. So if I go into Avid, we can see in here that in Media Composer, all the keywords are there. So if I searched by canoe, it'll find when there was a canoe in the shot and filter that down. If I go to Premiere, if I search by a cat, it'll find the clip with the cat in it. And there it is, right? It'll find that. If I go to Resolve, I can do compound searches. Here you can see a bunch of media. If I look for the character Beck, it'll filter it. Beck by the lake, and I want her backpacking. And now I've just found Beck backpacking by the lake by these types of natural searches inside of that. If I put this in list mode, you can see how long would it take you to log all this? But this is automatic, right? This is happening in the background, in the cloud. It's completely automatic. And last one is I took the movie National Treasure and ran it through our analytics. Media composer's pissed. Okay, all right. What's cool about Strada and Final Cut is Final Cut has an incredibly powerful thing. I know Apple wasn't here showing Final Cut, but it's an incredible product. And one of the reasons it's so powerful is it has keyword collections, which means that metadata in Final Cut is actually frame-based, where all the other metadata in the analyse is clip-based. So somewhere in this clip is a canoe or a bird or a lake. But in Final Cut, it can trim it down to the trim. So these are called keyword collections. And so if I said, I want to find all the shots fighting, Strada already made these keyword collections. I'm just going to mute this so I don't have to hear it. If I said everything with the flame, it's already found this stuff. If I put all this in a timeline, think about it, this is AI assistant editing. I just made a timeline of all flame footage. If I needed that, it's already pulled these and trimmed it down for me. If I wanted shots of the guns, if I needed something like that, it'll find all that because it's already filtered it down into a keyword collection. So here are those moments. If I wanted a statue, it'll find that. If I wanted, make a computer montage. Whoops, I just quit Final Cut. I didn't mean to do that. But I can pull all that. So the point is, I have the ability, there we go. That's how fast Apple can reboot. There you go. That's a demo. You can see here, this is all the computer footage it pulled, right? So anytime there was some form of a computer, it pulled all that for me, which is really cool. And then one more, I'll do an emotion, like, do we have happy maybe? Or let's see here. Frustrated, yes. Do we see that? Where did I see that? Yeah. These are going to be faces of people that are going to have a little frustrated look on them, and you can kind of see that. There you go. Look at that one. He's frustrated, right? So I like formal wear. So if you need a lot of tuxedo shots, it's going to find them for you, so it understands. These are just early stages of this type of technology, but it's saving you, hopefully, minutes, hours, and days over time when you start to think about this. And specifically, when you're thinking about working on clips that are, years old, that's the worst part for a project, is when you have to resurrect it and find stuff that you don't really remember, right? And that's what we're after at Strada. So it's pretty exciting, I think, what we're doing, and it's new and it's different. And we allow you to connect to third-party clouds. And once you connect to those third-party clouds, which you already own, you're able to analyze that by the faces and objects and locations and emotions. And once that's done, you're able to export it to your NLE. So it's really exciting. And I want to invite anybody here. We are in beta, which is another word for free. And so, at least at Strada it is. And so you can sign up for free. You can connect the cloud. You can start running transcripts and translations and analytics. And start to explore where this new AI paradigm will take us in a utilitarian form. Most of us that are leaning into AI, I think, are understanding where it's safe to be. And this is a really good example of where we think that could go. And we're really excited to have you all test it. Did I get that QR code up there? Was it up there? There you go. And it allows you to be able to get in the product and try it out. And we want your feedback because it's new. And we're excited to see where this AI journey takes us.
You can see why I'm a big fan of the Cioni brothers.
Thanks, Jim.
Fantastic. Let me ask a couple questions. So your material has to be on the cloud, right?
Yep.
In order to be searched, and that computing is happening on your website, in your app?
Yeah. Today, you have to have your footage in the cloud. But come early 2025, we'll allow you to hook up one of those OWC RAIDs and start analyzing your archives, which will be great without having to have it already loaded in the cloud. But the processing today is done at the cloud, which means everything you saw today is happening faster than real time, and that allows it to move really, really quickly.
Yeah, well, it's very impressive. I think we have a little time, so Any questions that we want for Michael?
You might have answered this earlier, but with the compute happening in the cloud, are you guys looking at eventually offering that on local servers for like more secure shows where they can't necessarily have it going up?
Yeah, if we early next year we'll have local connection. Where the processing happens is a little to be determined. We can do it here. One of the problems though with doing it here is it's slow. Yeah. And then you have to wait, and then your computer gets bogged down, and then you get pissed anyway. So we have to figure that out. And I think an important point that Jacob may be getting at is that I would make is that in media and entertainment specifically, we need to make sure that we do not over-regulate ourselves and stifle innovation because of too much caution on things that we just don't know enough about. In other words, a lot of people will say you have to work air-gapped. And they say air-gapped is the most secure. In some ways, sure, it's certainly secure. But is the air gap really the solution for a fear of something being stolen? Because a lot of statistics will tell you that most things that are leaked or stolen come from people who had access, not people who are packet sniffing across the tracks, right? And so it's important to understand that we can air gap things and they still get out. That's bad actors on the inside. And if we stifle innovation and collaboration because of that, then air gaps aren't going to change anything, right? They're not going to stop those problems. So I caution us not to overregulate even the concerns about being able to verify where AI comes from. If we overregulate that, Hollywood will actually lag in technology and workflow and speed because we almost over-indexed on security. And that's not to say security isn't critical, but we need to make the right healthy decisions that work. Otherwise, we'll watch somebody else lap us, and we'll say, well, we're more secure, we're just slower and more expensive. And that's not going to bode well 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now. And when people are concerned about the future of the industry, decisions about this will impact how fast other markets accelerate that might be a little bit more generous with some of these new tools.
Yeah, you're always on the bleeding edge, and we appreciate it. Leading the way for us. Thank you so much, Michael.
Thanks all.